And I want to talk a little bit about something that's coming up here at the church. And you can go ahead and put the first slide up. And I'm not really choked up about it. But the Romans Project is a conviction that we have because Southwest Bible Church has a conviction that God's Word changes lives. Many of you came this morning because you know God's Word changes lives. Some of you came this morning not knowing that, and you're about to find that out as Scott preaches and opens up the Word. But we have that conviction. It's that conviction that drives what we do as a church, how we spend our time, how we spend our resources, and the Romans Project is simply a global extension of all of that. John Corey began challenging pastors in Africa to read Romans 20 times and copy it out by hand. The reward for that was Scott Gilchrist crammed into an MP3 player. All of Scott's teachings, including through the book of Romans, would be given to pastors who did that. And what it does is, what you end up this continued study and personal sharpening as our pastor Scott becomes the pastor of pastors in Africa. And so this exciting thing began back through starting probably in 2005 roughly, and then getting its wings in 2010. And when you think about what that did, John was convinced that widespread commitment to the book of Romans by the leaders of the churches in Africa would lead to widespread revival and reformation of the churches in Africa, starting at the leadership level. And a commitment by the pastors to expository preaching, which Scott models through those MP3s, and to teach the book of Romans would do what God's Word does, which is change lives. And it did. In fact, beginning with 20 pastors in Liberia in 2010, the Romans Project quickly caught on in Africa and then spread. And in 2011, Dr. Rick Kallenberg, who's our International Romans Project Coordinator, began hosting these Romans Project conferences in Africa to equip and encourage other pastors to join in. The pastors who attended had read through Romans 20 times and had copied it out by hand, and then were able to come together for 5 sessions through how to preach and teach the book of Romans, get the MP3 player, and then be sent out. In fact, in 2011, over 4,000 pastors in 4 countries had completed the Romans Project. And by 2012, you can see from the graphic that over 9,000 pastors in 7 different countries had completed the Romans Project Challenge. And that expansion continues. We've been invited to expand the Romans Project to Tanzania, you can see them on there, Rwanda, Burkina Faso, Guinea, Burkina, Congo, and Cameroon. Those are all places that want the Romans Project to come to them. And we're considering taking it to Zambia, Zimbabwe, and Malawi. The Romans Project started in Africa, but we really feel that the global commitment to taking the gospel to the whole world, equipping pastors of the whole world, is not too overwhelming, because it's really just the whole world. We don't have to go interplanetary here. We have the expansion that we can focus on. There's an entire globe waiting to be challenged, so the challenge continues. In fact, Thailand, Singapore, Indonesia, and China have all expressed interest in hosting the Romans Project conferences and seeing that challenge come to their pastors. And so this is exciting when you consider what God's Word does to change lives, but not just to change lives, to change pastors' lives, to change churches, one pastor at a time. And then on May 15th, we'll be taking the Romans Project to the Philippines for 3 pastors' conferences. It'll be myself and prayerfully Titus Taraki, one of our African Romans Project coordinators, will be teaching these 3 conferences. So there'll be a team of us leaving on the 15th. You'll be hearing more as these weeks progress. The excitement continues to build. In fact, we'll put a picture of Titus up here, because what we're praying for, and this will take God moving a lot of documents through a lot of places where documents don't normally move. So we would invite you to join us in praying for Titus, because what we'd like to do is have him here on the 12th, on Sunday, so we can all enjoy what's going on with the Romans Project in Africa, and then our team will leave that Wednesday. So you can help us pray that that will work, and pray that all that will go through. So we're looking forward to that. You'll hear more as the weeks progress. The team will be out in the foyer. We'd love to talk more about what's going on and the excitement of the Romans Project as the expansion continues.